Okie dokie. It is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or not standard, daylight time. And I got alarms going off all over the place. I'm Montana Jim. I'm going to take over for Red Bear today and run the net as it is. So since we're starting the net, let's give it one more try. Are there any check-ins? Please come one at a time.
Hey, 0M.
Welcome, Daniel, in Pennsylvania.
Got you, Dan, in Pennsylvania. There was a K0M. I didn't quite catch all that one. Come again, please.
0MVB.
Okay, K0MVB. Can I have your state, please?
Kansas.
Copy, Kansas. Any more check-ins for the prep net? Okay, hearing none at this point. Let's go ahead and get on to me flapping my gums. I'm going to make some quick comments on last week's net. Donna MT suggested using plastic cat litter containers to store the sanitation water. Real good idea. And I just lost my place again. You know how this works, guys. I hit the wrong button and my little script goes away and I have to get back to it. She also mentioned that you could use dishwater, any of your old dishwater for sanitation water, meaning water you'd use to flush your toilet if you lost water. And that was what we talked about last time. Red Bear asked, in an emergency, could you use those cat litter containers to get water from a stream, filter it, and drink it? And, of course, I popped up and said yes. I'm going to amend that comment. Break. That's yes, if the container had not been contaminated with anything toxic. The cat litter is not toxic, but if you had put anything in the bucket, gas, oil, things like that, no, you could not use that for potable water, even if you tried to filter it or purify it. Another suggestion was made when you're doing your prepping plans to include what you're going to do if you happen to be at work when the emergency happens. And we had not covered that prior. Another great point. There will be extra things you need to do before you can actually bug out or bug in if you happen to be at work. So put that into your planning. Break. And another great one from Donna MT was to prepare for the apocalypse. This should cover most of what you're going to prepare for. So there's really no downside. It is a little bit more encompassing, but as we did state last week, it's much easier to take your big plan and modify it down on the fly than it is to try and increase it. By doing the one big thing I'm covering for everything, it can save you literally hundreds of hours of planning. Now, before we go to the topic, let's see if we have any more check-ins. Break. Anybody who wants to register for the net, please come now.
This is Will, WCJINTL, calling from Maui.
Okay, got you, Will, from Maui. Anybody else want to check in before I start flapping my gums? Let's get going then. Okay, assumptions. That's what the topic is. You're probably wondering, what the heck are you talking about? During your planning, you're going to make decisions based on assumptions, which are things that might not be there when you need them. And a lot of things, they're going to be things you don't even think about. And I'll give you an example, and I went and hit the wrong button again. Oh, my prepping. What good did it do me? Scroll back to where I was. Here's an example. Someone suggests that you learn to read a paper roadmap. And your reply is, I have my cell phone. I can use it to drive where I need to go. Okay, your assumption is your cell phone will be able to connect to the internet to download the maps. When this assumption is told to you, your reply is, I already have downloaded the maps to my phone, so it's okay. I don't really need to have cell service. Break. You are now assuming that your phone's GPS and your GPS satellites are working. When this is brought up to you, your reply is, I can read the map I downloaded on my phone. You're now assuming you have enough battery power left in your phone, and you can recharge your phone if the battery gets low. Of course, my comment would be if you can read the map you downloaded on your phone, then you ought to be able to read the paper map. A suggestion here, not only learn how to read a road map, but also learn how to use a topographical map and practice using them both. You will not always need to navigate a road, so knowing how to read and navigate with the topo map may actually save your life. Break. So when thinking about what you're going to do, always think of everything that might not work. Those things we take for granted, and we do take a lot of them, and I'm as guilty as the next. So hope you get the idea of assumptions and how badly they can mess up your plan. Here are some more assumptions to think about. Situation. You're driving to a bug out location. Assumptions are, I will be able to start my car. Well, what if the car won't start? Have a backup plan, plan with the extra battery, or even literally have a second vehicle, a backup vehicle. Next assumption, I will be able to get gas on the way. Well, you're assuming all the gas stations will be there, and there will be electricity. That may not be the case. Maybe carry some extra fuel. Break. Here's another one. Situation. You're going to use a generator. If the generator grid goes down, or the electric grid goes down, or you will need a generator at your bug out location, your assumptions. I have enough fuel for the generator to last for the outage. When planning to use a generator, make sure you have enough fuel for the length of time you're planning to be on the generator. Then double it. The next assumption, you will be able to get more fuel if you run out. Again, store more fuel than you think you will need. There's no guarantee you will be able to get the fuel after the emergency starts. And think about what can go wrong and try to prepare for it. You can't prepare for everything, but try. Break. Let's throw one more in there. You're going to buy extra cans of food and take them to your bug out location. Okay, your assumptions on this one are those cans of food will be good. Well, cans of food need to be rotated so the food you take with you will be good. Now, note here, canned foods will last much longer than the date printed on them. Do not discard them if they are past that date. That date does not mean the food inside has expired. Next assumption, I have a can opener at my bug out location. Okay, make sure you have a can opener always with the food you're going to be taking. Break. One point here that can eliminate some of these and other assumptions. If your bug out location is one you own, you will be able to stock up on items you will need and leave them at your bug out location, and in quantities that you will not be able to carry in your vehicle. Now, every plan you will make will likely have some assumptions, and my pager's going off, but we're going to ignore it because it's not for me. That's normal. But you do need to think about them and see if you can avoid them. Now, next week's topic will be triggers. As a quick reminder, you can check out our YouTube channel where you'll find more information about these topics that we've discussed that was presented here. Search for @prepnet-talk2me on YouTube. And my little thing says here back to net control, but that's me. Break. So that was the topic for this week. Again, we are taking the prepping thing in little itty bitty bites because it is actually a pretty big thing. Anybody else who wishes to register for the net, please come now. Okay, hearing nothing. Let's go do the round table. Okay, Matt in Mississippi. Do you have any comments, questions, criticisms, etc. of what we just discussed about assumptions?
Oh no, I always remembered you assume something, you know what it does. But no, I've always been kind of, I don't know. I've been growing up in the woods and all that stuff, so I've always kind of had an idea for, I don't know if you want to call it prepping or just living off grid, but I've always liked the idea, just being ready. It's kind of the Boy Scout thing. Always be ready.
It's exactly. And it's just nowadays, a lot of people will just sort of assume, well, things are there. As an example, GMRS or even ham radio with repeaters. Those repeaters might not be there. So you need to turn around and have another way. Your phone might not work. Just try and think of those things when you come up, okay, I'm going to do X. What could possibly go wrong that I might not have thought about? Okay, Falcon, do you have anything for the net?
Hey, great topic, Jim, for tonight. Do you know something? I gotta say the assumptions, they're real. You're actually if you're using something on a daily basis, we're kind of like creatures of habits, and we actually keep doing the same thing, and over again. You get kind of like accustomed to do it, right? But I think the gas, you actually nail that. And let me actually give you an example. Let me reset right quick. The example on with the gas. Usually in places where you actually have hurricanes and stuff like that, it kind of actually improved. But one of the things that I usually did before getting a weather event like that, it was actually fill up the gas, get extra stuff. Because like you said, you assume that you're under the assumption pumps are going to work. But if there's no electricity back then, pumps didn't work. And I know in Florida, when I used to live in Florida, there was no law regarding that, and now they actually changed it where they made it a law that all gas stations have to actually have some kind of generator. But the assumptions are really real. Like you take something that you think it's going to be there, but it's not going to be there in case of emergency. So I think this is actually a pretty good topic, and I'm looking forward for next week because you guys are actually giving a lot of excellent information to prepare. So that's my 2 cents for tonight. Back to you, Net Control.
Okay, thank you, Falcon. That's a good 2 cents too. Yeah, I think when we get into electricity, that's probably the biggest one. That if there is no electricity, there are so many assumptions. We've become so used to it. Look what happens if the internet goes down for 5 minutes, you can't check your email or you can't watch TV or something. You think it's the end of the world, and I'm as guilty of that as anybody. When my power goes down here, it's like, oh God, I can't watch TV, I can't do this, and it's like, even for somebody that's been preparing for many, 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 many decades, I should know better, but I just fall into that exact same thing. We get used to it. Quick break. Go ahead and pause here. Does anybody else want to turn around and join the net? Come now.
Yeah, Big Papa from Michigan.
You got your Big Papa from Michigan. Anybody else want to join the net?
Hey, this is Mad Gunner. I was going to add something to what I was saying was if you think you have a good plan, try it. Actually follow it all the way out. If you think you're going to lose power and you want to try something, try it. And it doesn't hurt. And take notes. Just like whenever we have hurricanes down here in Mississippi, we do like an after action. What could we have done better?
Absolutely on that. In fact, next week on triggers, there's a couple of examples of, and you've been listening to this net since we started. I preach plan it, test it, redo it. You have to do it, and you have to do it over and over again, because if you do it once and you go, okay, I need to change A, B, and C, you need to do it again, because you may find that A, B, and C that you change something else, and now that doesn't work, or you can improve upon it. In the fire service, we just practice over and over and over and over again. It actually gets unbelievably monotonous. But when the incident happens, the adrenaline's going, you don't even have to think about it. It's just automatic. So yeah, real good point. So why don't we go to Andrew in Michigan? Anything for the net?
Thank you, sir. Well, in talking about your assumptions and you assume you have enough of this or that, one of the other things is how you're going to cook your food. You know, some people have some of these Coleman one burner stoves that take butane or LP. Do you have enough of that? Do you have enough butane or LP to sustain a long period of time? If you don't, or if you need to get more, but also don't rely on that stove. Learn how to build a fire. Not only for warmth but to also cook or boil water or something like that. So again, especially into cooking, don't assume you have it all covered. Back to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Yeah, nope, that's a good point. That's another saying, probably you've all heard this, but 1 is none, 2 is 1, 3 is 2. And what that means is if I have 1 shovel, I basically have no shovels, because if that shovel breaks, I have no shovels. If you have 2 shovels, well, you have 1, because if the 1 breaks, you still have a shovel, and so on and so on. Not only prepare, but you're right, but have a backup to the backup to the backup to the backup until you get down to where, okay, we're going to cook using wood, and then the backup to that would be is we're going to eat it raw. But yeah, you do have to think about that. And again, this all falls back to we've really lived in luxury. We're so used to things, and it's just we make assumptions that we really shouldn't make. Let's go ahead and go to Joe in Missouri. Any comments, questions, or complaints about what we've covered today so far?
No, nothing really to add other than when you mentioned about the can. First thing I thought of, what I thought you were going to say about having a can opener in each thing is on everybody's key rig, you should have a P25, the military can opener. You know, something quality that can open a small or a large can. But kind of tagging along with what Andrew said, if you have nothing to cook it on, then anything that you have in a can should be shelf stable, something that you can eat, cold, because plenty of food there where you can get your carbs and proteins. But that would be the only thing I'd have to add right now.
Okay, Joe. And yeah, no, that's a good idea. I've heard the P25 talked about before. Back in my day, we called that a John Wayne. But anyway, yes. And the reason I brought that up about the can opener, it seems, some of the stuff I bring up seems kind of stupid, but a lot of the canned goods you buy now will have a pop top. And if you get used to most of the stuff that you buy as a pop top, you could indeed forget to have something as simple as a can opener. And not all cans have a pop top. And so then you turn around and you have to do Rambo and pull out your big knife and start pounding in the top of it. So again, some of the stuff that we'll come up with here does sound kind of, well, that's stupid. Maybe for us it would be, but people who are brand new to prepping, don't camp, etc., that actually might be information they could use. Very good. Well, let's go ahead and go to K6 MVP in Kansas. Any comments or questions about tonight's topic? Let's try one more time for K0 MVP in Kansas. Probably had to go find a can opener for that can that didn't have a pop top. Okay, how about Dan in PA?
I got nothing. Just listening.
Not a problem. Law, was somebody else trying to come in there? Okay, would anybody else like to check into the net before we continue on? Okay, Will, you're up next in Maui.
Hey, thanks, Montana Jim. Hey, guys. Great to be here. Hey, this was actually a lot of food for thought. as you know, we had that tsunami scare that was a couple weeks ago. We told her head up the hill, and lo and behold, she didn't have enough gas. So we were sharing with her afterwards. I know it's an afterthought, but I told her, we have a rule here. It's never, anytime your vehicle gets to half tank, you need to go fill it up. So assumptions assume you can just go put gas. So during that tsunami scare, even on our little island here, traffic was tied up for about 2 hours on our little island, and it was a trek for her to get up here. Thankfully, nothing happened, but it's always good. It was a good practice run for us, and some of our prepping.
Absolutely, yes. And we all have to, anytime you can turn around and put your plan into place, if it's a great plan, you're verifying it works. If something falls through, you get a chance to fix it. In fact, this next week's one of the little anecdotes, we had something go wrong here, and I followed the plan. But yeah, in fact, is in my fire department here, I tell my guys, if the truck is below 3/4 of a tank, you get it filled. Because when we go on a fire, once the truck started, it is not turned off until we get back to the station. So we got to make sure that we don't run out of gas on account of, because some of the trucks have power takeoff for their water pumps, and the water will quit flowing in. That's not a good thing. But yeah, definitely some good things. And anytime we can even look, even if it's somebody else, they have a little problem, we might be able to learn from it. And the pager's going off again, but it's not for us. Okay, how about Big Papa in Michigan there? Get there, Big Papa. You got any comments or questions for the net here? Another one looking for a P25 open. Okay, we've gone through anybody, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this open. I'm not as good as Red Bear. He's a real good net control. And if anybody wants to throw out anything else on what we've talked back or talked on today, or any questions on anything, again, next week's thing is going to be on triggers, which allows you to pre-plan, what am I going to do? When am I going to do it? So you don't have to think about it when all of a sudden you see some news flash that something's going on. You've already got sort of a pre-plan. That's what we call it in the fire service. We pre-plan a lot of stuff, so we don't have to think about it at 3 o'clock in the morning when we just woke up. So anybody want to go ahead and throw out anything? Go ahead. Okey-dokey, I'm hearing nothing. We're going to have a short net tonight, and that's okay. Anyway, again, I'm going to do a plug for the YouTube channel. The presentation that I give, I expand that on YouTube. It is also a mostly PowerPoint, but I've started to add some other stuff to it. We all learn differently, and just doing this over the radio, some people are not going to get it all, so that's why we decided to do the YouTube, so there'd be a visual component, a reading component, etc. And we also tape these presentations. So if you didn't happen to hear last week's or the weeks before, you can turn around and go on the website on YouTube and actually hear everybody and see the expanded presentations. And again, that would be go to the YouTube site and search for @PrepNet-Talk2Me, and it should take you to, or you'll see our thing and you can go there. Anybody have anything else before I go ahead and let the channel back to regular traffic?
Yeah, I just got a quick comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Papa.
Hey, do you know something a lot of people don't actually take in consideration? It's basically conditions based on region. You live in Montana, live in Texas, and basically our plans are not going to be similar. The terrain, the weather conditions, and everything up there, it's actually very different. And that's something that I can consider somebody could take for granted. Like if you had to actually migrate from one region to another one, because maybe that region is actually suffering some kind of big emergency that you can't stay. A lot of people actually kind of miss that, and it's good to actually get prepared with food and everything. But based on that plan that you actually doing, you have to actually plan out based on the region as well. And I think a lot of people take that for granted. Or say, for instance, myself, like if I have a big event in Texas and I have to actually migrate north, I have to actually take in consideration the conditions where I'm going to go. And maybe in my region, let me reset right quick. One thing that a lot of people maybe don't take in consideration, maybe in my region, there's some stuff that I don't need, but if I'm going to be moving to another region, that's actually going to be very, it's a need to actually have something that it's particular important in that region. So I think that's actually very important, and I don't hear anybody talking about that. Same with mountainous area versus desertic areas and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's just something I wanted to actually throw out there. Back to you, Jim.
Okay, Falcon. No, those are very, very good things. I've talked about it a little bit. I'm used the term. You have to decide for yourself. Everybody's plan is going to be different, and that's sort of what that. I didn't want to beat it like a dead horse, but you're absolutely right. You have to take those things into consideration. That's also one of the reasons why what I'm putting out there is apocalyptic prepping, and the reason for that is you can take the parts that work for you, work for your region, etc., but you're also being exposed to things exactly like you said. You're going to come up to Montana in the wintertime, and you're used to Florida weather, or West Texas weather, where if it gets down to, 20 degrees, oh my God, that's horrible. In the winter, 5 degrees with sun outside, I'm in shirt sleeves. And, it gets down to minus 20, minus 30. That actually is death weather. If you do not go out properly clothed and have a covering over your face and you take a deep, deep breath of minus 20, minus 30 degree weather, not wind chill, but that's the degrees, you can literally cause damage to yourself. So, yeah, you need to take that into consideration and think of all the possible things. Prep just for you. I'm going to break, because my mouth can run for a long time without fuel. But just keep all that other stuff in the back of your mind in case you got to leave. Oh, gee, do I have a heavy coat? Do I have rain slickers? Whatever. But yeah, no, those are real good points, and we're going to push that in future things. And our future topics are going to get a little bit less general and a little bit more detailed. But again, because of what Falcon said, we can't come up with that you should buy A, B, C, and D, and you should do X, Y, and Z, because everybody's thing is completely different. Throw it back out. Anybody else want to make any comments? I'm hearing none. I got other things making noises. What the heck? So anyway, I'll go ahead and thank everybody for joining and participating. And we'll be here next week, same time, same bat channel, and all that other stuff, and returning the frequency back to normal traffic.
Copy that. Copy that. Hey, good net. We'll be here next Sunday. Talk to you guys later. I'm going to be in channel 16.
Falcon, if you want to turn around, go ahead and give a little plug for that. I forgot to do that.
Oh, no, don't worry. Hey, for anybody listening into channel 14 right now, we're going to be having a net coming up at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. It's actually going to be kind of like a roundtable where we actually have Q&As about different technologies, ham radio, GMRS, CB, Mestastic, anything related with communications, and even technology. So if anybody wants to actually chime in and participate, we're going to be there 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, channel 16, the GMRS channel. And no requirement of license to participate. Anybody's actually welcome. And Jim, thank you for the opportunity to announce my net.
Oh, no problem. I'm doing double, triple duty here, so I'm surprised I got through it as good as I almost did. Anyway, I'm going to be going over to channel 16. So, good evening to you all.
Thank you, Jim. Have a good one. Appreciate the net.